Now we have some brand new breaking news coming out of the Middle East, and Israel has confirmed that the remains handed over by Hamas belong to Joshua Loitu Mollel, a Tanzanian student whose body was taken to Gaza after he was killed during the October the 7th attack. Hamas has returned the remains as part of the ongoing ceasefire deal, which was brokered by US President Donald Trump. The Israeli Prime Minister's office said the following the completion of the identification process, the family of Joshua Loitu Mollel was informed by the Israeli government and his remains to be soon handed over to them. This development comes as part of ongoing efforts to implement the ceasefire and facilitate the return of hostages and remains held by Hamas, despite intermittent strikes. We're now joined by Peter Baum. He's the foreign editor of the Weekly Blitz, and he joins us live from London to discuss this further. Peter, thank you very much for joining us, as always. Of course, now the Israeli government has confirmed that these transferred remains are Tanzanian student who was kidnapped on October the 7th. How big of a development is this, and what does it show about the current progress of the ceasefire deal? And also, of course, what can we expect next?
Yeah, good day, Thomas, and thank you again for having me on your program.
Pleasure.
Well, this must be seen by all players as a positive move, albeit there has been a drip feed of dead hostages released by Hamas, but nevertheless, again, it's another body recovered, and the poor Tanzanians' parents can grieve properly now. What is more interesting, though, Thomas, is going to be the release of the remaining hostages, and let me explain why. Hamas are suggesting that these remaining 4 hostages are held in a tunnel east of the Yellow Line where Israel has operational control, and that tunnel has been accommodating up to 150 to 200 Hamas operatives who are actually trapped in the tunnel. Hamas are saying, look, the dead bodies are within that tunnel, and Israel aren't believing that, and there's been calls from Hamas to its interlocutors to try and get Israel to release the Hamas operatives, and Netanyahu is saying no. In fact, the last information I had was that cement was being poured into that particular tunnel in order to coerce the Hamas operatives to come out. So delighted that the Tanzanian student body has been relocated to Israel. But nevertheless, I think the remaining 4 bodies are going to be a significant issue, and going forward as to how well the ceasefire holds up. So all I can say is, Thomas, we'll have to watch this space closely in the next 48 hours to see if any more bodies are being released before the trapped Hamas operatives get out from their tunnels.
Yeah, and Peter, of course, logistically, it's proving hard to retrieve these bodies. Of course, 80% of Gaza is now rubble. If in the situation, the scenario where these hostage bodies cannot be retrieved, what happens then? Do we completely stop moving on to that second stage of this ceasefire?
Well, this is the whole point, Thomas. Well, no one knows, because it's imperative from Israeli society that those bodies are released to their loved ones. It is a fundamental principle of what drives Judaism, Zionism, call it what you like, but it's imperative that the grieving process cannot begin until those bodies are returned. Now, Hamas well knows this. Netanyahu seems to believe that those bodies are not within that particular tunnel, and therefore Israeli intelligence seems to believe that the bodies are well known to Hamas and where they are. So it would be very, very interesting to see what the next 48 hours brings. If Hamas stick to their guns and their propaganda machine and say, look, we're sorry, but those bodies are within the tunnel, and unless you let the our operatives free, then it really does imperil the phase one of the ceasefire agreement. It is that important. This is a tipping point. Israel wants the bodies back. The Israeli cabinet believe that Hamas know where they are, and Hamas are saying, we're not giving the bodies back because they're in the tunnels and we want our operatives released, because those Hamas terrorists are absolutely isolated. They're trapped. And Netanyahu, frankly, wants to see them eliminated.
Okay, yes, Peter, thank you very much. Do stay with us as we have further updates coming out of the enclave, where in Gaza transportation has become a daily struggle as residents navigate broken roads and few working vehicles. Passengers are crammed into carts hitched to damaged cars as families and workers stand hours hoping for a ride, a makeshift solution as options grow scarce. 2 years of Israeli bombardment have left much of Gaza devastated, killing some 68,000 people, according to Gaza health authorities. This is what some of the Palestinians who are traveling had to say.
بالحرب كانت المواصلات تروح على غزة وتيجي من غزة ب7 شيكل بالضبط، وإيش توقف في الكرسي اللي قدام وفاضي ومبحبح. اليوم أنا يعني إلي ساعة هنا بستنى سيارة أطلع على غزة على دوامي ببلش على الساعة 7:30، هي الساعة 7. طب أنا لقيت عبين ما ألاقي سيارة وأروح على غزة بدي بالراحة ساعتين أو ساعة ونص عبين ما ألاقي إيش سيارة وأركب فيها. طبعا ناهيك عن الطريق وتكسير الطريق وظهرك حيروح، وكنا بدنا غضروف، وكنا صار عندنا دمار جسمي بشكل مش طبيعي من أزمة.
صراحة احنا في غزة بنعاني من أزمة خانقة في المواصلات. أول حاجة السيارات يعني صعبة، سواء انها صارت قديمة أو مكسرة، سواء كمان فيش سيارات يعني عدد محدود اللي ضل في السيارات، وصار يحطوا في السيارة نفسها ورا زي بسموها عجلة بنقعد فيها طول الطريق يعني بنتكسر لما نصل مثلا من الانصارات لغزة. غير الأجرات كمان برضه مرتفعة كثير يعني في غزة، يعني الواحد مش حمل إنه كل يوم يدفع أجرات بالمبالغ هذه.
وضعنا في المواصلات صعب جدا وغالي جدا وغير لائقه بالبني ادمين بالبشر. احنا بنركب في وسائل مواصلات صعبه جدا، يعني بتضيف على معاناتنا معاناه. المريض بيزيد مرضه، اللي عنده غضروف وضعه صعب جدا انه يركب هذه المواصلات.
Okay, moving on now. Hamas says that a senior delegation led by Khalil al-Hayya met with Turkish intelligence chief Ibrahim Kalin in Istanbul to discuss the fragile ceasefire in Gaza. According to a statement from the group, the talks focused on ongoing Israeli military activity, the closure of key crossings and urgent efforts to rebuild Gaza's damaged infrastructure, which includes sewage, roads and electricity works. Hamas officials also reaffirmed their commitment to the ceasefire agreement and to transferring Gaza's administration to an independent Palestinian committee. The meeting comes just days after the same delegation held discussions with Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan. Of course, we will bring you more updates on that once we get them here on NewsX World. Moving over to Lebanon for our next story, and Hezbollah in a recent